The last meal, one final request before walking down the path of no return. It's an old tradition, offering prisoners condemned to death a last moment of indulgence. Some choose to relive the comforts of their past, while others? They choose the strange, the surreal, the downright bizarre. Today, we're diving into the strangest last meal requests ever recorded, and the stories behind them. What drives a person, facing the end, to make such odd choices? Stay with us as we explore the answers. The last meal request dates back centuries, across many cultures. Whether seen as an act of mercy or a final human gesture, it's often shrouded in mystery. The idea is simple: before execution, prisoners are granted one final meal of their choosing. Some prisons allow no restrictions, others impose strict limits. But across the board, this tradition represents a last flicker of control. So what do these final choices reveal about the minds of the condemned? And why do some requests seem so abnormal? Timothy McVeigh, responsible for the Oklahoma City bombing that claimed 168 lives, was a man who left an undeniable scar on American history. In his final moments, what did he request? Was it a feast, or a plate symbolic of his dark legacy? No. McVeigh asked for just one thing: a single pint of mint chocolate chip ice cream. There was something chilling in its simplicity. No grand gesture, no extravagant meal, just a quiet, cold dessert. Did this reflect the cold detachment with which he committed his crimes? We'll never know. Next, we have John Wayne Gacy, the killer clown, whose horrific crimes claimed the lives of 33 young men and boys. For his final meal, Gacy indulged in a massive spread that might raise a few eyebrows. He requested a bucket of KFC fried chicken, an ironic choice, given his past as a KFC manager, along with fried shrimp, French fries, and strawberries. It seems almost mundane, like a family meal on a lazy weekend. But beneath that normalcy was a stark contrast to the monstrous life Gacy led. Why these choices? Was it nostalgia for a time when he seemed like an ordinary businessman? Or was it just a man's attempt to embrace a last comfort in his final moments? Victor Fker's last meal stands out as one of the most hauntingly symbolic in history. Fker, convicted of kidnapping and murder, made an unusual and eerily quiet request: a single olive with the pit still inside. What could this mean? Many speculate it was a gesture of peace, a symbol of hope, or even rebirth. Perhaps he envisioned being buried with the pit, hoping that an olive tree might grow from his grave, offering new life where death had prevailed. It was a quiet, somber request, but one that still resonates with a strange kind of beauty. Sometimes, the strangest last meals aren't about the food at all. They're about the meaning behind them. Ricky Ray Rector was no stranger to bizarre behavior. After killing a police officer, he shot himself in the head, surviving but with significant brain damage. When it came time for his final meal, Rector requested a spread of steak, fried chicken, cherry Kool-Aid, and pecan pie. But here's where things take a strange turn. Rector didn't eat the pie. When asked why, he said he was saving it for later. This disturbing, almost childlike reasoning left a deep impact on those who witnessed his execution. Some speculate that his mental state at the time clouded his perception of reality. Others believe this was a subtle way of defying the process, holding on to hope for a later that would never come. Lawrence Russell Brewer, convicted of a gruesome hate crime, took the concept of a last meal to the extreme. He ordered a monumental spread: 2 chicken fried steaks, a triple meat bacon cheeseburger, a pound of barbecue, 3 fajitas, pizza, and ice cream, with a peanut butter fudge cake to top it all off. But the twist? Brewer didn't eat a single bite. His actions weren't just strange, they were infuriating. So infuriating, in fact, that the state of Texas decided to end the tradition of last meal requests altogether. Brewer's stunt was seen as a wasteful protest, a final act of defiance against the system. In that moment, he forced Texas to change a long-standing tradition, forever. Unlike many others, Ted Bundy, one of America's most notorious serial killers, refused to make a last meal request altogether. In cases like this, the state often provides a standard meal: steak, eggs, hash browns, toast, and coffee. But Bundy wasn't interested. His refusal might suggest that, even in his final moments, nothing in this world, no food, no indulgence, could satisfy him. Or maybe it was one last attempt to control the narrative around his death. Sometimes, the absence of a request speaks louder than the strangest meals. Bundy wasn't the only one who refused a last meal. Across prisons in the U.S., several inmates have opted for no meal at all. Some say it's an act of defiance, others believe it's a reflection of acceptance, an acknowledgement that no last meal can delay the inevitable. For some, food in the face of death becomes meaningless. Of course, we can't talk about last meals without mentioning a few more honorable mentions. In 1990, Stephen Wayne Anderson, a convicted murderer, requested 2 grilled cheese sandwiches, a pint of cottage cheese, hominy corn, and peach pie with a side of ice cream. Then there's Philip Workman, who didn't ask for any food at all. Instead, he asked that a large vegetarian pizza be given to a homeless person. Prison officials denied this request, but many people honored his wish by donating pizzas to shelters on the day of his execution. And perhaps one of the strangest of all, Odell Barnes, who simply asked for justice, equality, and world peace. While it may have been symbolic, it left a lasting impression. So, what do these final requests tell us? Some are acts of indulgence, others are laden with meaning, and a few seem to be acts of rebellion. In the end, the last meal is a complex, deeply personal reflection of the human condition, facing the final moments of life with food as their final request. It makes you wonder, what would your last meal be? Would it be something that brought you comfort in childhood? A favorite dish from a special occasion? Or something entirely unexpected? The last meal might be one of the most intriguing aspects of death row. It's an eerie reminder that, even in the darkest of circumstances, we are still bound by the simple comforts of life. So, what do you think? Do these meals offer insight into the minds of these criminals, or are they just a small distraction in the face of the inevitable? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe for more fascinating and eerie stories from history, crime, and beyond. Stay curious, and until next time.